John Wick Chapter 4 is here. The embargo is up. We can talk about it. But we're going to do a non-spoiler review for you here. We'll come back later on down the road and do some spoilers because so much happens in this movie that we can't talk about. And we don't want to spoil it for you. The movie comes out like March 24th. So we're very early on this.
Yeah. Is it opening like in other countries first or something? Or do we know?
I don't know. But we're here to talk about it now. You guys have all expressed a lot of excitement about it. So we're excited to talk to you about it. But just so you know, we're going to be intentionally kind of vague and be spoiler free. Alonzo, what happens in the very long John Wick Chapter 4?
You and I left a good life behind a long time ago, my friend.
So John Wick is back and he wants to restore himself and clear his problems with the high table. That is not going to be easily accomplished, especially because the Marquis, a new character played by Bill Skarsgard in a series of amazing suits, is not down for that. And he is setting people up to take out John Wick, including people who John Wick perhaps once considered to be allies. And yeah, there's 3 hours of that. We're not going to get into spoilers, but yeah, Paco Delgado did the costumes. And seriously, Bill Skarsgard's suits were one of the things that kind of kept me going in this movie because I got kind of bored, which is shocking for a John Wick movie because usually they're just like nonstop excitement. They're very adrenaline packed. And this one, the fight sequences, even by the standards of John Wick movies, which I think allows for a certain lessening of the rules of physics, get ridiculous. And ridiculous to the point of, you know, the whole cool thing about the world that these movies have built is that you have like the Continental and you have, you know, this whole underground of assassins and stuff, and they're operating in plain sight, but that the world kind of doesn't realize they're there. They're like the wizards in Harry Potter, basically. But here you have like somebody getting an axe to the head in the middle of a crowded nightclub and everybody's just still dancing around. I mean, like, what? What's going on here? You have physical things that happen to John Wick that are not bullet related that you're like, okay, you should be dead now.
He should be dead so many times in this movie.
Yeah. And again, we give leeway to the John Wick movies because they are operating in this very sort of stylized way, but they go beyond the point of like, okay, I was giving you some allowances here, but this is just bananas.
He's like beyond superhuman in this one too. Yeah, this movie is 2 hours and 47 minutes long. And when I first heard that, I was like, awesome. Like more John Wick, bring on more John Wick. But like more John Wick is actually too much. I have all the admiration in the world for the style on display. Chad Stahelski, who of course has been a longtime stunt coordinator, directs here again. And he always takes great care to let us luxuriate in the complexity of the choreography. And I love that. That's fun. And that's a signature of this whole series. And I appreciate so much work that goes into it. I mean, there are some really, really cool things and some cool setups that then have great payoffs toward the end. There's a whole thing involving a staircase that is just a dazzling bit of like prolonged fighting and pacing, and there are individual sequences that are
but
great.
That also falls in the category of you should be dead now.
You should be dead now. So there are so many ideas. There's but this one felt more like a video game than the other ones. Like there's a whole section in this Osaka hotel lobby where like the camera's kind of trucking with him as he's like shooting people, and that feels like we were talking earlier in our Last of Us recap about how they took a video game and made it feel cinematic and didn't try to recreate the first person shooter dynamic there. And here, like, a lot of times you do feel like you're playing a video game. There's a whole big section that takes place like in an overhead of it's a house, right? And he's going from room to room.
Yes, which very much feels like a video game.
It's totally overhead, and you're watching as he goes from room to room and through the hallways and down, and that also feels like it. And maybe for a lot of folks, that's going to be awesome. I was not so thrilled with that. And it just feels, as you say, kind of, it sounds redundant, but it's like a beatdown after a while watching this. It's pummeling. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is too much of a good thing. But like the style is great. The clothes are great. I love Bill Skarsgård in this. Keanu is a treasure, you know?
Sure. Yes. No, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And, you know, yeah, I kind of feel like if maybe this had been 2 movies, it'd be a little more forgivable. It just, by the end of it, I felt worn out by it. And I also, and again, maybe it's because this movie wore me out that I'm asking questions in my head that I shouldn't be asking in a John Wick movie.
Like, cause you're distracted?
Yes. Yeah. So like, but by the end of like, for me, it started feeling like those later Die Hard movies where John McClane goes from like, barefoot guy running on broken glass and his whole vulnerability is what made him such a memorable hero, to buy that last one where he's like swinging off scaffolding in Moscow and you're like, who is this guy?
Like, how?
Yeah.
He's only getting older.
Yeah,
how?
Exactly. So like the John Wick thing, we are so departed from like the guy who's mad about his dog being killed, to just this like unstoppable murder robot, it just, I don't know.
So within those individual moments, it feels like there aren't any stakes when you see that he's infallible. Like nothing matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, sure, throw him off of anything and have him, be pushed off of anything or get, the bulletproof suits are already, bringing a lot of like, well, he's not, that he's going to survive this, and this.
Explains it.
But it just, it's too much. And again, it's not like we come into these movies expecting hardcore realism, but even within the constraints of what they've created about what we will accept that his body can tolerate, it's gone beyond the pale, I think.
And when I mentioned Donnie Yen,
yes,
he's a legend, and those scenes are really fun, and it's cool to see what he's doing because his fighting style is like so sharp and like quick and precise that it's an interesting contrast with what Keanu is doing here. Bill Skarsgård totally knows what movie he is in.
Yes.
And is just like vamping it up and was just a treat.
Yeah. Hiroyuki Sanada, always fun. But yeah, no, for sure. Skarsgård is maybe my favorite thing in this movie.
I think so too. Also, Rina Sawayama is in this. She's a big Japanese pop star, and she has a crucial role in the Osaka hotel sequence. And there's
also a great costume thing.
Yes. I mean, and there's like a thing that she does within her fight sequence that I've never seen before on a staircase. That was really cool. Like, the thing in the Berlin nightclub is so stupid. Like, it's all like CGI people jumping up and down and dancing and flailing, and like people are like getting savage in the middle of it, and everyone just keeps going. It's like this weird disconnect.
I kept thinking of Stefan, this club has everything.
Access to the head.
Yes.
Showers everywhere.
There are a lot of like hot bruisers in suits. If that's your thing, you're going to get plenty of that over the nearly 3 hours of this movie. But yeah, it's all a bit much. I
want to mention that Dan Lawson shot this, and he is a longtime cinematographer. I think he won an Oscar for The Shape of Water, correct? No, he was nominated. He was nominated for Shape of Water and Nightmare Alley. So he has worked with Guillermo del Toro quite a bit. This film has this really heightened film noir look quite frequently. Like over and over again, someone enters a building, they enter a lobby, all the stuff in the Japanese hotel has this really cool use of neon lighting. There's a scene where they go to the Marquis' penthouse, and there's like these golden shafts of light coming through these windows, and it's beautiful and like striking, and it's like gorgeous and intimidating, like scary all at once. A lot of the way the use of lighting. So it's creamy and
there's a sunrise that is vital to the plot, and all I kept thinking was, well, they gotta CG this because it would take I don't know how many days to get like the placement exactly right,
Yeah. So even when I was a little like, if I found the fighting tiresome, it was always extremely cool to look at. So I enjoyed that about it. I'm very mixed. What is your number?
Like a 5.8. I just, again, this is a franchise I enjoy. I like the previous John Wick movies. I had a good time with them, and they understood what they were, and you knew where the boundaries were. And this one just feels like we can do anything, and that just is less interesting.
I will say a 6, and that is mainly for the craft on display and for individual moments that were really truly inspired, and just for Keanu's performance in general. And
McShane being Ian McShane.
And that's always lovely. Yes. And Skarsgård's a hoot. So, I'm mixed on it. Yeah. I love these movies too. I loved the last one. Not everyone loved, Parabellum. I liked that one a lot. So, we will have a full spoilery review for you somewhere down the road after the film comes out.
Yes.
Let us know if you're psyched about this, what you're hoping to see, and we'll have more soon.